the homeless. Plus, a massive fire kills several dozen. Tonight, the fire department still searching for victims as the flames continue to flare up. But first, a presidential request 4 months before going on trial. An Idaho soldier released from the Taliban wants to walk free. Local News 8 at 5 starts right now.
You're watching Local News 8 at 5. Local people, local news.
A good evening. 4 months before his trial, former prisoner of war, Haley native Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl wants President Obama to issue him a pardon. The White House and Justice Department say that Bergdahl submitted the request on Friday. The Haley native is accused of walking off his post in Afghanistan back in 2009. He was captured by the Taliban and held until 2014. That's when the Obama administration swapped top members of the Taliban being held at Guantanamo Bay for the release of Bergdahl. During the campaign, now President-elect Donald Trump had some harsh words to say about Bergdahl.
So we get a traitor named Bergdahl, a dirty, rotten traitor, who, by the way, when he deserted, 6 young, beautiful people were killed trying to find him, right? And you don't even hear about him anymore. Somebody said the other day, well, he had some psychological problems. Well, you know, in the old days, bing, bong.
If the pardon is granted, it would allow Bergdahl to avert a court-martial trial that's scheduled for April. He faces charges carrying a maximum penalty of life in prison. The release of Sergeant Bergdahl was mixed 2 years ago. News of his pardon request today is also getting mixed reaction. On our Facebook page, Joe O'Brien wrote, "I thought he pled not guilty. An innocent person shouldn't have to seek a pardon. I'm sure President Obama will make sure he's taken care of while the veterans who stayed at their post get put out in the cold." On the flip side, though, Tom Melton Jr. said, well, not everyone knows the full story. All everyone knows is he left his post. Is there a possibility that someone came up behind him while on watch and took him captive? Or maybe he was sent to be a spy, to be caught as in being a spy? Everyone just judges everything based on the little information the media wants the nation to know. So we want to know what you think. Just head over to our Facebook page, that's Local News 8, and share your thoughts there. You can also send us an email. That email is newsdesk@localnews8.com. Happening now, growing support for hundreds of protesters at the Bakken pipeline in North Dakota. 2,000 veterans are expected to arrive on the front lines this weekend. They are expected to give the thousands already protesting a break ahead of the Monday deadline to leave. Last week, the Army Corps of Engineers told the protesters they had until Monday to leave the federal land. The Department of Justice says it is providing resources to local law enforcement to help keep things orderly.
Let me stress that violence is never the answer, and that all of us have a responsibility to find common ground around a peaceful resolution where all voices are heard. Our first concern is the safety of everyone in the area, law enforcement officers, residents, and protesters alike.
Supporters of the pipeline say it will cause the U.S. to be more self-reliant on oil. Critics, including the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, say the project will affect the group's economic and environmental well-being. Support for the pipeline protesters is pouring in from around the country. In Pocatello today, several people gathered to show their support. They held an informational session on what is happening in the area and discussed creating strategies for local supports. We will have more on this event coming up tonight at 10. A problem facing millions of Americans and thousands of Idahoans is getting some extra attention. According to themarysue.com, the Gem State ranks as 24th in the nation for the number of people who are homeless per capita. Today, there is a group gathering in Pocatello to brave the cold to help those forced to sleep outside. Local News 8's Dennis Valera stopped by that encampment today. Dennis, so people are actually staying in boxes.
That's right, Chris. This fundraiser serves 2 purposes: bring money to the homeless shelter and remind people homelessness is a problem in the community. It creates a camaraderie and brings people back year after year.
Darren Daniels has been spending the night in a box since 2011.
That's good, thank you.
It's grown to be a family affair.
It started out with just me, then it's gone up to then it was up to my oldest daughter, then my son, and now my youngest daughter is going to join us later tonight. I'm still trying to get my wife to come out. She hates the cold, so.
For him, the cause is worth the cold night. Since 2006, Pocatello's homeless shelter Aid for Friends has been hosting this homeless encampment to remind the community homelessness is a problem here, and they can help. People who spend the night collect pledges or sponsors for their stay.
Kick that box this way.
Michael Sampson has been running logistics for this since the beginning.
And this event is raises much needed funds to keep the doors open so that we don't have something like this down by the river or underneath the bridge or down by the railroad tracks. Can you fold in that side?
Of course, it's the cause bringing the people together, but it's the people themselves causing the return.
And a lot of us don't even see each other, much during the year. It just gives you that sense of a larger family, like I have a family at home, and then I have this family every year, which is really cool.
The encampment runs until tomorrow morning at 9. You can still help the cause. Aid for Friends has a PayPal account set up for donations. Reporting in studio, I'm Dennis Valera.
Thanks, Dennis. This is the 10th year Aid for Friends hosted the homeless encampment fundraiser. There's a link to the PayPal on our website. That's localnews8.com. As the temperatures drop, many of you will be firing up the wood-burning stoves and fireplaces. Today, a Bonneville County family got a scare while using theirs. Firefighters were called to a home on Travis Way around 2:30 today for a chimney fire. It wasn't much. Firefighters put a little water on the flames and helped with some cleanup. This small scare, though, is a good reminder to be extra cautious while using fireplaces and wood-burning stoves this winter. The National Fire Protection Association has these tips. First, burn only seasoned firewood. It will create less soot, resulting in less chimney buildup. Second, dispose of ashes in an area that they won't catch fire and make sure they are completely out. Third, have working smoke alarms on every level of your home. Finally, make sure you have a carbon dioxide alarm near the fireplace. Now, a tragedy in Oakland. 9 people are confirmed dead in this California fire. Dozens more are unaccounted for after the fire at the warehouse. You can see it there on the monitor behind me. Firefighters battled flames several feet into the air as they worked to rescue those trapped inside. Alex Stone kicks off news from around the nation now with more on this tragedy.
A night of fun turns to horror. The sky lit up in red.
Fire went up really quickly.
Around 11:30 Friday night, a fire broke out at a party in Oakland. Dozens of people inside.
The building was a warehouse that was kind of like an artist studio that had, several different partitions where they had various artists in there.
The smoke could be seen for blocks. Inside, a chaotic scene.
I'm also glad I had this vest on, or my whole back would be blistered right now.
The roof collapsing, the escape route blocked.
There was only one way down from the second floor, and that stairwell was put together through what was described to me as pallets.
A majority of the bodies reportedly found on the second floor. Confusion over those missing and those who made it out alive. Authorities are prepared to deal with dozens of people dead.
This is a very, very traumatic event. This is a very rough day for the city of Oakland. Our hearts go out to the families, to our first responders that have to deal with this. This is very, very tough for us. This hits very close to home for a lot of us.
Rescuers are using drones with thermal imaging to locate hot spots. It could take days before we know the cause.
Continuing news from around the nation, in South Carolina, jury deliberations will resume Monday in the trial of a former North Charleston police officer, Michael Slager. He's charged with murder. The case appeared to be headed for a mistrial after one lone juror wrote the judge saying he could not vote for a conviction and would not change his mind. The foreman says the one juror is the only one having an issue. Slager is charged with the shooting death of Walter Scott. That was an unarmed black man during a traffic stop. Final stop around the nation, Louisiana. A former NFL star shot and killed in an apparent road rage incident. Police say 20-year-old Joe McKnight was killed Thursday after an argument with another driver. That driver has admitted to shooting McKnight. McKnight was the first drafted to the New York Jets in 2010. He last played in the NFL in 2014. That was for the Kansas City Chiefs. Police questioned and released the other driver. They're saying that other driver is cooperating with their investigation. Back here in Idaho, the Bonneville County man accused of killing his girlfriend will be in court on Monday. Jeremy White was arrested in Nye County, Nevada over a week ago. He's accused of strangling his longtime partner, Kristen Caldwell, and burying her body in the dirt basement of their home. Court documents say Caldwell was killed by White after Caldwell found out that White was having an affair with another woman, Dina Aday. Aday has also been charged in the case. She's facing accessory to felon for being with White after the murder, but not turning him in. The sheriff's office said Aday played no role in Caldwell's death. Aday will also make her first court appearance on these charges Monday. A reminder this evening to Highway 26 drivers, the Idaho Department of Transportation has lowered the speed limit on an 11-mile stretch of the highway. The reduction from 65 miles per hour to 45 miles per hour is going to be between Highway 48 and Ryrie. You see it marked there on your screen. The change comes after hundreds of drivers complained about flying rocks damaging their cars following a chip seal project. The contractor who did the project, HK Contractor, says it's looking into the problem. This is some video from a story we did on Thursday showing a lot of that damage. For the time being, though, HK has crews sweeping the rocks off the road. ITD says it does not know how long the speed limit is going to be reduced. Hey, so there are some changes flying out of the Pocatello Airport. Still to come on your News at 5, what that change is. Plus, Idaho firefighters on the front lines of the deadly Tennessee wildfire. Tonight, homeowners assess the damage as they return home.
And it's been a pretty gray day today. A couple folks did see the sun, but we'll see a lot more white with that gray as a snowstorm moves in. I'm Chris Nessman. I'll have your full weather forecast and tell you how much snow we're getting with this next storm soon.
Local people, local news. You're watching Local News 8 at 5.
Developing news out of Tennessee tonight. For the first time since massive wildfires, there are killed at least 13 people. Those who were evacuated are being allowed back home to assess the damage. The fight is far from over, though. Hundreds of firefighters, including 50 from eastern Idaho, are battling the fires. Tonight, Don Dare tells us why those forced to flee are upset over the notification process.
When the order to evacuate Gatlinburg went out shortly after 9 o'clock Monday night, the wildfire was out of control. Some residents say they never received the order on their cell phones.
2 firemen knocked on the door with yellow coats on. They told me I had to evacuate out now because the wind gust was coming across the mountain so fast that they had to get everybody out.
Brenda Reimer said she got out with only the clothes on her back. She said there was only one escape route. She said there were no directions given by police along the way.
They didn't tell me that you could come up to Rocky Top to shelter or anything. So I headed to Newport, and that road was terrible. Trees across the road and everything.
The controversy over the evacuation order, should it have been issued earlier on Monday night, came up at today's briefing among all the officials.
There was power outages. We lost cell phone reception. This is a huge disaster. So the things that we have in place to do that certainly have redundancies, and those redundancies were even affected.
Why weren't some people reached when others were? Could there have been a quicker response? Could there have been an earlier response? These are issues that weigh heavily on those who make the decisions.
The emergency folks will sit down and evaluate what went on and how it can be improved. You can always improve any system you have, and we feel confident that we can do that, but we're going to have a complete evaluation of how the system worked and do whatever it takes to improve that system. But that's going to take some time.
And now, Chris Nessman with your first alert forecast.
And unfortunately, those of us out west are all too familiar with the wildfires, so our hearts go out to those people. And today, we're not talking anything like that. In fact, it was a very gray day. Low kind of to mid-level cloud deck meant a lot of folks weren't seeing a whole lot unless you went towards the higher elevations of Central Mountains. Finally, some folks did see some sunshine. So enjoy it if you got it, because look at winter storm warnings for most of our region. We're talking a good snowstorm coming through, and you can't really see it on Viper radar, but if we zoom out a little bit, you'll start to see it come in the Pacific Northwest. Now, a better view of it is using the infrared map. I mean, look at this. This is a big swirling storm, a lot of moisture associated with it that will be coming into Idaho in the next couple of days. So as we move through, tonight we'll start with just a few snow flurries throughout the evening, very, very minimum. We're talking slight chance here. But then by about midday, notice the Continental Divide, the Central Mountains start getting in on the action. And then by the afternoon, much more widespread, a little bit of rain in the valley locations, but that should transition to snow very quickly. And then I wanted to show you this. Notice that fairly solid line in the Southeast Highlands. That's just showing the models are saying that, hey, patches of convergence could happen. Essentially, air masses within the storm colliding, meaning a couple of folks are going to get a few more inches than areas around them. So while we're not expecting a ton of snow for the valley locations in particular, we could see a few chances of some higher numbers. Now the snow forecast, again, the heaviest will be Sunday evening across the region. Winds will be a factor, and then here's some good estimates on snow totals. 1 to 3 inches in the Snake River Plain, 3 to 8 inches in the mountain valleys, and that includes places like Salmon, Chalice, Driggs, Soda Springs, and then above 7,000 feet, well, they're going to be the real winners with this snowstorm, 8 to possibly 15 inches in some locations. Again, good news for the ski resorts. Tonight's lows, tomorrow's highs, not big with that storm. Again, few places we'll see a rain-snow mix with the highs in the upper 30s, Salmon, Chalice included. But you see, once we get past tomorrow, the chance drops for a little bit, and then we have more storms on the way. So we're going to be in a very snowy, stormy forecast over the next couple of days. And these overnight lows, too, just a little bit of a spoil alert, are much warmer than the overnight lows that we're going to be seeing in a couple of days. I mean, look at the extended forecast and look at those nighttime lows. Yep, sub-zero temperatures, first time for this winter season, come midweek. And with that, you get the moisture, you get those extra cold temperatures. Fog will be an issue. And I'm thinking particularly Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is when we'll really see that. And it'll start to clear out as another storm moves in Thursday afternoon. So even Pocatello getting down to the single digits, and that is typically one of the warmer spots in our region. And Jackson, 9 below. Yeah, it's plenty cold for the both of us. And again, we'll have a series of storms. So one tomorrow, lingering into Monday for Western Wyoming, another cheap round Tuesday, and then another storm next Thursday, Friday. And that Thursday, Friday one also looks like it could bring some pretty good snow totals.
These are the days I wish I was a bear and just could go into hibernation because it's too cold.
Sleep sounds really good.
Doesn't it, though?
Definitely bundle up. Make sure the kids have, gloves and headscarves and stuff in their backpacks
just
for school.
Just stay inside.
So, I mean, you can enjoy it. You just got to bundle up for it.
All right.
So.
Thanks, Chris. Heads up for those hoping to catch a flight out of the Pocatello Regional Airport. You will soon have one less option to pick from. This is topping your consumer report. Starting on New Year's Day, SkyWest Airlines will only offer one flight in and out of the airport. SkyWest serves as the Delta connection to Salt Lake City. The new schedule will have no impact on the twice daily flights on Sundays or the 3 flights on weekdays. The airport says the reason behind the change is because Saturday is the slowest travel day. More demand for flights is needed, though, during the weekday. Passenger numbers for that time are up 38% year-to-date. American Airlines flight attendants want a new uniform. The union that represents the attendants say the wool clothing is to blame for a number of health issues. A spokesman for American says evaluations on the uniforms are being done. They have had about 1,600 complaints this year. The vendor of the clothing, that's Twin Hill, also received complaints about uniforms that it made for Alaska Airlines. That was back in 2011. With downright bitter cold temperatures on the way, it's time to start thinking about our outdoor pets. Still to come on the news at 5, how the city of Pocatello is working to save dozens of those homeless pets. Plus, with New Year's around the corner, many of you may be making that resolution to eat healthier. Tonight, the growing opinions on one diet already popular with millions. Good news for some homeless pets in Pocatello. A $2,500 grant from the ASPCA will give them a new home for the holidays. Next Saturday, free adoptions will be taking place at the Pocatello Animal Shelter. Thanks to the grant, this is happening from 11 to 4. The grant will cover adoption fees for cats and dogs. Free donations will happen until that $2,500 is gone. If the total is reached before the event is over, the animal shelter is going to reduce those adoption prices. Potential owners, though, are going to be screened by shelter staff just to make sure that the animals will be going to a good home. In your Health Matters news, dietitians sounding off on a popular diet just in time for the holidays is being a vegan, really healthy. Dr. Timothy Johnson looks into it.
Meat, for most Americans, it's what's for dinner. So it may come as no surprise that in this nation of carnivores, only about 1 out of every 30 people declares themselves a vegetarian or vegan. But popularity aside, is cutting out all the meat from your diet a healthy or even safe approach? This week, a top group of nutritionists and dietitians issued an official statement to say yes, vegetarianism and veganism can be healthy, but only with proper planning. The authors of the statement point to evidence showing that plant-based diets can lower risk of health problems like heart disease, obesity, even certain cancers. The trick, these authors say, is to make sure these diets are well balanced. Just because something is labeled vegan, they say, doesn't automatically mean it's healthy. Well-planned vegetarian and vegan diets contain vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts and seeds, and even though pastries and French fries are vegan, they obviously are not healthy. And as with all diets, check with your doctor before making major changes. With this Medical Minute, I'm Dr. Timothy Johnson.
First it's the snow, and then it's the cold.
Yes, that'll be the summary of what's coming. So quick summary of our snow. Again, it'll be heaviest tomorrow evening. Winds will be a problem, and you look at those snow totals, 1 to 3 inches in the Snake River Plain. So this is definitely more of a mountain event. 3 to 8 inches in the mountain valleys, and then over 7,000 feet, we could be talking over a foot. So again, that's great for the ski resorts. And you look at the extended forecast, middle of the week, the story will more be fog and those chilly overnight temperatures. I mean, sub-zero for a lot of the region. It's winter.
It's time to bundle
here.
up. Time to bundle up. Thanks, Chris. We'll see you back here tonight at 10. Have a great evening, everyone.